No football till September.
Yeah.
Douchey calls and sweaty balls, this is Scotch Sporting.
What do you got there?
I made a little Big Mac.
Oh, nice. Now, what did you use for the sauce? Did you make a sauce or did you?
I did. Now, I say I make a Big Mac as someone who hasn't had McDonald's in maybe 30 years.
What?
Like since a little child. It wasn't anything that was super encouraged.
Right.
And it's also something that gives me instant diarrhea.
That's a good reason not to have it.
And a headache.
Yeah.
So I'm going based on what people told me the Big Mac sauce is like.
Yeah.
What the memories are. I mixed mayo, ketchup, a little bit of mustard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I didn't put ketchup in because I don't think I had any. A little bit of mustard, chopped up kosher dill pickles, and onion powder and garlic powder and a bit of Worcestershire sauce.
That sounds pretty close.
It's pretty tangy.
Yeah.
Pretty yummy. I was going to make Big Mac spring rolls.
Ooh.
But I threw out my rice paper things because they were expired and old.
Damn.
So now they're just little Big Macs, but I am now determined to make a Big Mac spring roll. So it's going to be ground beef and cheese and lettuce in the spring roll, and you'll dip into the Big Mac sauce.
That sounds amazing.
But I won't eat on the podcast except for this soft zucchini because you can't hear me crunch that.
No crunch at all. There's zero crunch.
No crunch. So you do, Mark, you do have an Allen's on the books.
Yes.
So I don't know if either of you checked the chat.
I did. I saw the bone-ins don't fit this year.
The bone-in, the flavor is outstanding. Supposedly, according to the waiter, because like we knew what we were talking about, the waiter said this year's Henry Trainer, which is one of the usual suppliers, is the best it's ever been.
Oh, wow.
It's their number one, and it's the best it's been in a long time.
So everything Henry Trainer get?
Mm-hmm. There are a bunch of new places that Dave and I hadn't seen on the list, like a couple of, I don't know what to call, abattoirs. A couple new abattoirs, couple new farms, couple new butchers.
Yeah, I'm like farms, but yeah, abattoirs.
Yeah, there are a couple new farms, like cow suppliers, that we hadn't had before. So we were asking the waiter about them, and he's like, still, like, the Trainer's gonna be the best one.
Okay.
But the bone-in was definitely overcooked.
Oh.
And you asked for rare? Or
we did ask for rare, and it was probably closer. It was more on the medium side of medium rare.
Ooh,
like there was definitely pink still, but like I expect my rare to be mostly pink, and this had a border of not pink.
Right.
No, okay. That's good. Medium.
Yeah.
And the flavor was delicious. So order it, but whatever you're like, there's nothing lower. I guess we could have ordered blue. There's nothing lower than rare. We could have said.
But you didn't know it was going to come up medium when you said rare.
Yeah, we had no idea. But if you still want to go for it, because I prefer wink, wink, joke, joke, the bone in. Mm-hmm. I find like it's fattier. I like the marbling. It's always like nice and chewy and usually even more rare by the bone.
Yep.
If it's bone in, order like one lower than what you normally would. Okay. And then it'll probably come out okay. But it was like salty. It had that popcorn taste to it, like this buttery, salty popcorn. Okay.
And that was the trainer.
The flavor was outstanding. It just, I wanted it rare. That would have enhanced the flavor.
Yes.
2 tartars on the list, as per usual. 1 bison, 1 cow, and we went with bison, and that was outstanding. Really, really gamey and really rich. You could definitely taste the iron.
Huh.
It helps us play.
Exactly. Like, it definitely felt we were playing more. I'm also just did a workout, so thirst trap. Hello.
Yes.
So I'm in a tank top. No time. It was. Do I make food or do I change?
Food wins every time.
Food won. I'm Dave's downstairs. I'm alone. I don't care if I stink.
Gord don't care.
Gord prefers when I smell.
He likes that new scent. It's like, ooh.
If you're sweaty, he'll lick you more. You guys know he steals my socks all the time. I can't wear socks in my house.
Socks.
He is aggressive when it's like post-workout socks.
Man.
Oh, that's scent.
It's cocaine. He's waiting at the top of the stairs, and he'll attack. He'll just attack if I don't take them off quickly enough. How was your week, guys?
Good.
Awful.
Oh, sad or work awful?
No, devastated.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's that? 3 Super Bowls in the last 10 years? 12 years? 10 years?
12 years.
12 years.
Yeah. Should we get right into it and talk about Super Bowl? We don't have a doc, so we won't do the Scotch Sporting rundown, but I did make notes about what I wanted to talk about, sort of. So let's start with the Super Bowl, because, Mark, I felt for you. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, as was written. Yep. I don't know did I send it to you guys? The Biden, whoever runs Joe Biden's Twitter.
Oh, the dark.
No, but Chris showed me the tweet though.
Yeah, it was.
It needs to whoever runs that account needs to be promoted, and they're leaning into the dark Brandon so hard.
It was so good.
And it was just, if you didn't see it, it was a picture of Joe Biden with laser red eyes, and the caption was just as I scripted.
Or just how we planned
just as we drew it up.
Yeah, it was so clever.
Very good.
And so funny, and such a fuck you to what has been a joyful unraveling of the Republican Party. It seems to have gotten worse.
Yeah.
And every day it's some sort of new clown show.
Mm-hmm.
And is the daughter-in-law running the RNC now?
She's the co-chair.
That's who,
and doesn't realize that her job is actually to support the entire Republican Party, but says in an interview that all the money is going to be going to Trump's campaign. I'm like, you're supposed to be spending money on other people.
How it works.
Yeah.
Do it. Fucking do it. Take all that money and put it into Trump's campaign. Do it and be a legend, girl. You go for it.
You go, girl.
You go. Have you guys listened to her song? I bet Mark has.
We talked about it and we played on the podcast. Was it last year?
So good. There was a live version.
Oh God.
She did a live acoustic version that's just even more joyful than I could possibly imagine. What a time. I'm not as nervous as I was. I mean, we'll see come November.
Yeah.
But they just lost again. I know we messaged about it, but are they tired of losing by this point?
The Democrat ran on border security. He didn't run on abortion.
I think that was top of mind though for a lot of people.
Yeah. The exit poll had him they had a ton of border security commercials he was running, and the voters, a couple were interviewed who actually voted for Trump in 2016, said they flipped because they wanted to see things get actually done, and knew that Senate Republican wasn't going to do that.
Damn,
it's so good. It was kind of a flip back. So that seat was Democratic until George Santos flipped it to Republican. So a win is a win is a win. It's still awesome, but it wasn't they turned a red state, but it's still they voted in George Santos. Let's try something new. And then they went, oh, fuck.
This was a mistake.
This was a big mistake.
Santos won by 7%. This Woozy guy won by 8%. So it's literally a 15-point swing.
Wow.
And was he the guy that held the job before Santos?
Yeah, and he resigned to run for governor and lost the governorship.
Well, that didn't work, did it?
Yeah. So he went back to Congress.
And I'll take it back, guys. Thanks so much. Anyway, Super Bowl. So obviously it was scripted. You know?
I mean, no holding calls whatsoever.
Sorry?
No holding calls whatsoever.
I can't believe how many times we were screaming at the TV, holding. No, not one.
So tell me about your viewer experience. Did you guys watch together? Where did you watch and what did you eat? Let's talk about some nice things first.
We were at our friend Paul's house, and we had.
Is this fake Chris?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had nachos, and then pizza, and there was chili.
And is fake Chris the guy who double jinxes the 49ers?
No, he bets against the Niners.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he made money.
But he's a Niners fan.
Yes.
Okay. So you had nachos?
And pizza and chili and there was chicken strips as well, I believe. I didn't have any of those, but
real pub setup.
Yeah, I gorged myself on the pizza, which, by the way, so there's this pizza place in town called Garth Pizza. Paul's the one who introduced it to me. I personally think, as far as like, not fancy pizza. You know what I mean? Like, how there's fancy pizza places? Like, for just, $10 pizza, hands down the best in the city. Like, hands down. So,
because I don't know if Hamilton has the same thing that Toronto does. Obviously not, because Toronto.
Yeah, right. Center of the universe.
Yeah. Had to drive downtown again today. Yeah. I had to drop stuff off to the Much Music building, and I was like, I'm going to hit someone, and I'm not going to care. Like, stop cutting off my car. Mm-hmm. I'm clearly trying to turn into this driveway, and you are walking where you shouldn't be.
Right.
Reams of people. Anyways, it's either $30 pizzas or pizza.
Right.
Like, there's really no good hole in the wall.
No, we have a lot of good hole in the wall places here. So
and maybe I'm not.
Garth is one of those hole in the wall kind of like, but it's fantastic. Anyways, so it was pepperoni, bacon, and extra cheese. And what I learned from one of the other guys that was there is that you take the buffalo sauce that we were putting on the nachos, and you put a little buffalo sauce on the pizza. Like, it was a life changer.
Magnifique.
Yes. I also had the worst sleep of my life after that night because I ate way too much. Yeah, and I paid for it. So
real indigestion city.
Oh man, it was like wake up. And I'm like, and I take a Tums, and then I'm sitting there, and like the heartburn's so bad, my eyes are watering. And I'm like, sitting there, and I'm like, is this ever gonna end? 10 minutes later, I'm like, I'm gonna take another Tums. So I take another one, and it like kind of settles, and I lay back down. It felt like I slept maybe 45 minutes the whole night.
You got to do that. Do you do like a Peptade?
No, I just do Tums.
I do. It's when it's really bad, I take the like 12-hour long acting one. It's Peptade. It's like Nexium, although I know that's a cult. I forget what the actual one's called. Mm-hmm. Or like Zantac.
I miss Zantac so much. That shit worked so fast and so good.
It's called like Nexium, but I know that's the cult, and it's in a purple thing. It's purple and yellow.
Yeah.
And it's one of those once a day or once every 12-hour pills. And I swear on really, really bad days, even it's supposed to be preventative.
Right.
But if you feel it, take it. And it'll for sure help. We go to our Super Bowl party every year where the host themes the food. And it was just, she's a solid cook. So this is no knock on her. It's just been the same foods for a while. I mean, the San Francisco was lovely. I brought crab dip, Mark, and sourdough bread. But she made, what's the chocolate that's from there? Starts with a G.
Oh, they have it at the stadium too. Oh,
it comes in a square. Yeah. In a foil. Anyways, they had the Ghirardelli. That's it.
Yeah.
She had Ghirardelli brownies. I made the crab dip. She had sushi trays. And then it was just the usual fucking Kansas City stuff, which I shouldn't complain about. But Kansas City barbecue is just not my speed. It's too sweet. It's too tomato based. It's too like a Kansas City barbecue. And please fight me is the basic bitch of barbecue.
Mhm.
Like, I think I know I've said it on the podcast before. It's like when you think of barbecue, whatever flavor comes to mind, that's Kansas City barbecue.
Yeah.
You can get Texas that's really sweet, or Carolina barbecue, my favorite, that's super vinegary. This is like, here's the basics. Like fucking Montana's what you'd get at like a Lone Star Cafe or something. Yeah, Kansas City barbecue is like Diana's house. Dog's up here because he was crying at the bottom of the stairs for my food. Hey, Dave Cutner, everybody.
Hey.
Just Mark. Chris went somewhere. Oh, there's Dave.
Hey.
Bye-bye. So I need new teams because I'm really sick of this food. I wish there were people at the party with seafood allergies, but I would have loved more sushi.
Mm-hmm.
More sushi, more like chowder. More like coastal.
Chowder.
More coastal. More California. Tex-Mex. Although that's not really San Francisco, it's California.
Yeah.
Chinese food. There should have been Chinese food.
There should have been Chinese food. Dave and I are flying to Palm Springs, Palm Desert on Saturday. His parents rented, so no podcast next week. Spoiler. I guess we could do it but it'll be 6:00. We'll figure it out. We were just saying, I'm very excited. We go Saturday to Saturday. I want to find, as you only can in like southern border American states, a dirty taco stand.
Yes.
I want to go, and I've been there in Nevada. I want to go do taco places where you're like, it's 50-50 if this is diarrhea.
Right.
If it's a diarrhea taco or the taco diarrhea.
If the taco leads to diarrhea.
I just want to be clear.
Like, I want to be pretty concerned there's going to be hair in my food.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
the people cooking it.
Question what the meat is.
Maybe there's a Band-Aid.
No, we've been to Vietnam. I don't want to question what the meat is.
But maybe there's a Band-Aid.
There might be a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
As long as you assure me it's not dog, then meat. I don't care. Like,
Cat?
remember the scandal like 10 years ago? Remember the scandal 10 years ago when it was like, oh my God, there's horse meat in IKEA meatballs or whatever it was? And I was like, I don't care. Who cares? Yeah, we started talking about Super Bowl, and now we're talking about Super Bowl food. Mark is sad, David. You need to respect your friend's sadness.
I share in his sadness.
Yeah, we were Team San Francisco, Mark.
Definitely Team San Francisco.
I think most of the planet was.
Let's talk about the game. We all hate dynasties, don't we?
I mean, it's just boring. It's boring when it's the same team winning all the time. It's boring. Like, we did this with Brady, and we're gonna do this again with Mahomes. Like, can we not just get some parity?
You know what the giveaway should have been? The giveaway should have been the DUI.
Yeah.
Because the last time they won, the assistant coach got the DUI.
Right.
And then just before the game, Patrick Mahomes Sr. got the DUI. Like, that must be their key. Also, their key, what's like opposite of Nostradamus?
I don't know.
Because that is me.
Oh, okay.
Because every time I'm like, this game's going to be a fucking shootout.
Right.
Like, what a fun, high-scoring game this is going to be. Every time I even think it.
Right. I mean, listen, like the second half, the fourth quarter and overtime kind of felt like a shootout. Everything leading up to that sucked.
The fourth quarter was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But like this is a party. This is all of Dave's friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of them have kids, and all of the kids were there. And a couple of the little kids were not leaving me alone because they found out I played Fortnite.
Oh.
So I was like encouraging them, and we were playing, and I was like annoyed because I was like, well, the game's about to start, guys. Can you go bother someone else? And then I was like, that's okay. We can play.
Because it's 3-0 after the end of the first quarter.
Am I flirting?
They were flirting with you.
The little boys?
The 8-year-olds.
The 8-year-old little boys you think were flirting with me?
Not me. Yeah.
They weren't after they saw me gritty.
That's right.
But then if you I don't know if you guys check our Scotch Sporting Instagram. I walked in this morning after walking board
Yeah.
and
Was that
Rowan
a direct
asked,
quote from Rowan?
direct quote, "Mummy, can you widowy gwitty for me?" And I said, "Yes, I can."
Hell yes, I can.
You ask anytime. I don't care what I'm doing. You wake up. I get so annoyed when he wakes up at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
and like needs cuddles or he like freaks out because his blanket isn't adjusted right. If he woke me up at 4 a.m. and it's like, "Mom, can you gritty for me?" I'd be like, "For sure I can."
I
And
will.
let's go back. I know I will not be angry with you. So Mark, I asked you to do this on San Francisco's run to the Super Bowl. Did you ever question anything? Talk to me about this game. Did you ever give up hope? Did you ever know it was going to be?
Mark did not. I can promise you, I was standing right next to him the whole game. Mark never once doubted that they had it.
But I did kept yelling, "Run the damn ball!"
Run the damn ball. Yes, that was said a lot.
They did that. They pulled a Ravens, right? Like,
No, well,
Not
here's
as
the thing:
bad, but
they pulled the Ravens in the third quarter, and I will tell you why.
go
Right after
what?
that pick on Mahomes, you have the momentum. You're up 10-3. What do? You ran 3 pass plays. That entire quarter, they had 3 possessions. McCaffrey ran the ball once. All 3 possessions, 3 and out.
wow.
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 And they were still winning at that point, which was fine. And then that punt happens,
Yeah.
and that turned the
That's-
game around.
It's TSN turning point right there.
The Niners had the Chiefs offense fucking figured out. Mahomes couldn't get anything
Yep.
going.
And then they get the
And then you
break.
get that.
They get the break, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're the Chiefs." It's the thing, you can't give them that. And again, that play is really no one's fault.
No.
Because it's like, I mean, yeah, again, it's no one's fault, but yeah, it really did like wake up the dragon.
Yeah. I
And
had the same feeling as I did watching Brady, and I think this was before overtime when because they went into obviously overtime, they were tied. When San Francisco was up, and then they handed the ball over to the Chiefs, and I looked at how much time was on the clock. I went, okay.
yeah, it was almost 2 minutes. It was like 1:57 or something.
You give Patrick Mahomes way too much time. He's
Yep.
marching down that field, and they're tying this game.
Mm-hmm. And then you take the ball in overtime, and you're giving Patrick Mahomes 4 downs. Like,
See, that's debatable, but
no.
Here-
I understand what you're gonna say, and I understand
What am I gonna
Shanahan's reasoning was he wanted to have the ball when it was sudden death. He wanted to have first crack at the ball when it was sudden
Yeah.
death. That only
But
makes
let's not-
sense if you score a touchdown.
but let's not forget the defense was just on the field for
I
literally before that drive,
I get
and
it.
they had 2 injuries on that.
I
defensive
get it.
drive.
I get it.
But I
You're
think it's both.
and it's not just any player, any team 4 downs. You're giving Patrick Mahomes 4
But
downs.
I think what Mark said earlier to Chris's question now, I also would take the ball first and give it to fucking Christian McCaffrey.
Run the
I
damn
mean,
ball.
they did. They
Run the damn ball.
they ran it pretty well
until they got to the
until
red
they get
zone.
close. Yeah.
And then on that last play, even though I wanted it to be a running play, that 3rd and 4, if you watch it, it was actually a good play design for a pass play. But the problem was McKivitz completely ignored Chris Jones and decided to block the linebacker on the right. And Chris Jones had a free lane of Purdy straight up.
Yep.
Had he just blocked Chris Jones, Ayuk was open in the center, and Juwan Jennings would have been open on the flat, which is where he was going to go.
Right.
Now, Steve Spags said after the game that he gave credit to Purdy. He said he looked a lot like Drew Brees. He was ripping up his zone attacks.
Yeah, I think any question of Brock Purdy's skill has to go out the window.
Right, but San Francisco does have to get rid of him.
He might be the one to break the curse.
Okay.
I mean, he's the first quarterback, Mr. Relevant, to make it to the Super Bowl.
Sure,
I mean,
you know what? You're right. Maybe he is the one to break it.
Yeah.
The curse we obviously refer to is, and this has been going on for the last like 25-ish years. 18.
Last 18 quarterbacks who've gone there for the first time have not gone back.
Never gone back. So you got to win it your first time, or you never go back.
Yeah. The last person to do it was John Elway.
Oh wow.
And
he's
well,
old as fuck.
and he lost 3 before he finally.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this after the game. He lost 3 in spectacular fashion, like
Destroyed all
blown
3
out
games.
in all 3. But nobody remembers him for that. Everybody remembers he went out back-to-back champ.
They remember him for the flying, spinning,
The spinning, yeah.
for the first
I do
down.
remember he lost 3 in a row.
See,
Yeah.
not in a row. 3.
Or
Yeah,
3
there was-
items in spectacular fashion. I just
Yeah.
remember the joke from The Simpsons when it's the Hank Scorpio episode, and as a parting gift, he
Yeah, the Denver
So
And
Sorry,
that's the
no.
reason
Broncos.
why, because they get blown out in the Super Bowl.
But
yeah,
then they won.
the Denver Broncos.
But then they won the Super Bowl that year. The
That
year
year.
that episode aired.
And maybe again, Chris. Maybe one day.
One day, not with Sean Payton as the coach, though.
So, Mark, anything you would have done differently if you were Shanahan other than just run the fucking ball?
Run the football, and these officials actually need to call holding on Kansas
Yeah,
City.
it was there was some really egregious ones, like really
But-
egregious.
I looked up the stats for most penalties and most holding calls on the linesman this year. 4 players tied for the most holds this year. 2 of them played for the Chiefs.
So they just put the whistles away in the Super Bowl.
For them, we got called for offensive holding.
Yeah, of
Trent Williams got
course.
called for one. Yeah.
But like, I saw that they've played in 3 Super Bowl, or they've won 3 Super Bowls
Played 4 Super Bowls.
and 0 holding calls.
0 holding calls. Like,
0
impossible.
0
Oh,
holding
shit.
calls.
Yeah,
All 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all 4.
that's sus. That's sus as fuck.
So let's say the fix is in. Let's just say.
Right.
I'm not talking like Dark Brandon, like
mean,
scripted conspiracy.
No, but you want Taylor Swift on the field at the end of the Super Bowl. Like, that's what
But,
you
like,
want. That's what you want. If
that
you're the
was
NFL.
just this. Oh, that was so good though too.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
She seems
She's
like
so
she's all right.
fucking cool.
Shotgun
and
and
that
beers
bo-
when they put her on the fucking screen.
Chugging the beers, Blake Lively like genuinely being into it, and Ice Spice having no idea what was going on.
Did you see people going on about Ice Spice doing like satanic imagery with her hands? Like, I guess she did like one of these things, and people are like, "Oh, that's satanic hand symbols." And so, God, I need to, like, I seriously need to delete Twitter, because like I start reading this shit and it like genuinely makes me angry, and I'm
But
like,
this is
What if it's
I-
actual sign language for something that's innocent?
it's in scripture that this is a
but
devil
also
sign.
doing
Well,
doing
what's
That's
the
what
this,
someone
sign
on Twitter
language?
said. He said this. It's in scripture. And then
Doing
someone
this,
said,
so-
"Can you point me to the exact verse in the Bible that it says that?" And he's like, "Well, it's not in the Bible." And he's like, "But you said scripture."
like
And he's
scripture.
like, "Well, you got to do more in-depth reading." Okay, so tell me what to read.
Oh, where?
No response.
Point me in direction.
No response.
So so you obviously can't see, but doing this, like tapping your thumb to your fingers, like really quickly, is a queer culture. It's like a clapping.
Oh,
There you go. See?
Like if you have your
well,
long on, you do like it's like imagine yourself saying work. Like that's what you.
Right.
Yes.
so then it is satanic.
it is
then.
satanic if it's
Yeah.
queer culture.
If it's queer
Oh, that's
culture.
right.
That's right.
Chris, I just need you to embrace that feeling.
Which
Because
feeling
that
is
feel
that?
like that's being just a woman existing.
Oh, okay.
Like Ice Spice was just existing.
Yeah, and no, she's a Satanist.
Yeah, like Travis or Jason Kelsey can rip off his shirt and get hammered
No
and
problem.
he can wear the
Show him on
he's wearing
TV.
like
Luchador mask.
the luchador mask and like drunk as hell, and that's like
Totally
boys will be
fine.
boys making a hand gesture. She's obviously Satan.
Well, I don't think they're saying that she's Satan. They're just saying that she is a devil worshiper and that the NFL is trying to
for just existing.
Yeah.
Well, then that's Trump's fault because remember he said that he made her this big. It's because of
Ice
him.
Spice?
No.
I know. Can I just go on record and say that I have zero idea who Ice Spice is?
I don't know.
But you knew her name though when I pointed it out to you. You're like, yeah, I know, but
I've heard the name, but
I don't know her music at all.
Ask me what this person is famous for.
I know her as like verses in other people's stuff. I don't really know any of her music.
Right.
Yeah, I told Chris to get with contemporary music. It's like I'm 4 years old.
It's over. Yeah, I'm in my 40s. It's over.
A friend of mine used to have a theory that whatever bands you were into at 27 are the bands that you just keep listening. If they release new albums,
it's earlier than that. It's like
well, it's 27.
For me, 23 is when everything stopped.
Even with your kids, like your kids aren't listening to stuff that you're like, oh, that's pretty good.
Well, actually, no. My kids. So my son listens to all 90s music. And my daughter doesn't live here anymore, so I don't know what she listens to. And Desmond's into weird stuff, so he's into like... I mean, he listens to good stuff too, but he listens to Gorillaz a lot. And Daft Punk. He likes Daft Punk.
Oh, that's fun.
So, yeah.
Roan is still very much into Take On Me.
Oh, nice.
Which is awesome.
That's fantastic.
And he loves Rasputin.
Nice. See, this is... And this is the thing. Devlin, obviously, he's 20, but he's into like all kinds of like 90s like grunge and rock and all that. And I'm like, perfect. So.
Oh, he's really into 90s music. He's really into Mambo Number 5. Which is a real bop.
Right.
Like objectively, it's a real bop. He really likes the part. And just yells that throughout the song. Good times.
Could be worse. Could be the Macarena.
Would you change anything for next season for the 49ers?
Oh, they got rid of the defensive coordinator.
I was just going to say, get rid of the defensive coordinator. He's gone.
The Niners literally went from the second best run defense last year to 26th this year.
Ooh.
And it kind of makes sense because the defense coordinator this year was the first time that Shanahan hired technically outside of the family. And he came from a defensive backs background, not a linebacker background, which is what he usually hires. Like Saleh was a linebackers coach, D'Amico was a linebacker coach. So the thinking now is they go back to the linebacker model, either promote within internally who knows the system, or hire someone who can adapt. Because when they hired Wilkes over, he wasn't allowed to bring any of his coaches. He had to come in and learn the Niners system.
So you think all of the pieces identical? Get a better defensive coach. That's all you need.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Super Bowl odds right now, they're the number one favorites.
Oh wow!
Because
they don't have
literally
it.
They
don't have any pieces that are like gonna go. So no reason not to.
Dave hedged. So Dave, Mark, I'm sure similar to you and FanDuel put his $50 on the Niners at the beginning of the year.
I did.
And he did the math and found out what he would have to bet on which outcomes to assure himself of a profit. And I believe he got a profit, but it was the lowest one you could have gotten, right?
Yeah, because the odds for the Chiefs wouldn't have been high.
How much money did you end up winning then? 166.
Not bad.
Not bad. It would have been what, like $800, $500?
Well, I already made back the so I didn't lose anything.
That wasn't my question. Never mind then.
I was plus on my Super Bowl bets. I think I was plus like $20.
I was in the plus
the
too.
Super Boost?
What's that?
Even with the Super Boost?
It was the Super Boosts that were why I was plus.
Okay.
So
the parlay I cooked up for us. Oh fuck! How
that
close
parlay,
was that?
man, that parlay. Listen, So next year or next year when we're doing the Super Bowl parlays, take the team winning out of it. Don't rely on the
That was
win.
issue. It was McCaffrey getting 2 touchdowns that killed it.
That too, but also take the team winning out of it. Just go
I
with.
would say
I was that confident, and they should have fucking won the game.
I mean, I am, as you guys know, a very conservative gambler. I very rarely put a winner on.
Right.
If I'm doing a big parlay, I'll do spreads in hockey, like shots on goal, overtime. But it's like I rarely do a winner because that's the one that'll kill you.
Yep.
I won a whole bunch, and now I wish I put money on. So we do all the props, and I put like literally 20 up to $1, 25 cents, 50 cents, 75 to $1 on stupid props because that can get out of hand really quickly.
Yep.
But I put 25 cents on a non-quarterback throwing a touchdown pass because I was like, the Chiefs do this all the fucking time.
Yeah.
They do these stupid trick plays in these types of games, and 25 cents turned into $9.
It's pretty good.
And I was
bet you wish it was 50 you put on
tricky play. It wasn't even the Chiefs that did it. It was the Niners.
Oh, was it? Yeah. I was so mad that I didn't put more money. Yeah. What I did put a ton of money on was Travis Kelce proposing to Taylor Swift on the field at the end of the game. It was like, there is zero chance of this happening.
Right.
And the odds were terrible of it happening. But I was like, this is easy little bit of money.
Right.
And it was.
But then why risk it? Because
he wasn't. That was like sports be damned. I know pop culture.
Right. It's not the
way
place
better
for
than
it.
I do sports.
It's not the place for it.
I know sports pretty well. I know pop culture even better. This isn't happening. She would never do this.
Okay, so I have a hypothetical scenario for you guys. Lindsay's dad. I guess it's not very hypothetical because it actually happened. Lindsay's dad went to a bar for the Super Bowl. And you know the game where it's the squares and you put your name on the score. Okay. So him and his friend go and say, "Hey, just randomly, we don't care. Just put them wherever." And him and the friend were in on 2 squares, and then they each had a square individual. His individual square hit because he had 3 and 0. And so it hit for the first quarter and the second quarter.
It's all his. There's no splitting that shit.
You agree as well, Tay?
Absolutely. No splitting it.
Yep. Because me and Lindsay both said to him, like, no, you don't have to split that. Because he's really like, I don't know if I should or if I shouldn't. And we're like, nah. I
got $30 profit.
He's like, I didn't pick it. It was the person there just put my name up. I'm like, that's
but you had a score where you did split.
Yeah. It was karma.
But were the numbers on the board when he wrote it down?
What do you mean?
No, he just said just throw my name wherever.
Throw wherever. Didn't care.
No, but like for those that you don't know, like Super Bowl squares or whatever, it's a grid, 0 to 9 on one side, 0 to 9 on the other. And everyone you pay and you put your name in a square, and whatever the last digit of the score was for each team is what hits. Like one's the Chiefs side, one's the one would be the 49ers side. I won halftime squares. No big deal. So I walked home with a Seattle Seahawks hat.
Ooh.
And $50.
Nice.
$30 profit. Because I put $20 on my squares. Oh, and I won the third quarter. They do the squares every quarter, but only half and the end win.
Oh, okay.
Dave won squares at the end.
Nice.
The final score?
We got 3 of 4 in our household.
That's pretty good.
But the third quarter came with no cash, and the little we had left, we missed a lot of the third quarter. We listened to it on the radio because we were driving home from Whitby.
So that's why they stopped running the ball. God damn it.
Because I left. I changed things. I'm so sorry.
Your fault.
I listened to it.
Not the same.
Listening that same as watching.
They got to be in the room. When things are going well, you can't mess with things.
Like that guy who stood outside in that Lions game.
That's true. I didn't really, at the end of the day, have a dog in the fight, so I didn't think I mattered.
You did have a dog in the fight. You said you're going Niners the day before because the whole.
True, but they're not like my team. You know, it's not like if it's
someone.
The Vikings.
See, Mark throws everything he has into whatever team he picks. Doesn't matter what it is. So Mark doesn't
If you be-
understand what it's like to watch with people that are like, it's not my team. I don't really care.
It could be my
Mark's
goddaughter's little soccer team. I'm putting all money on her.
Mark's
it.
also had
Go.
a very recently successful team that he cheers for in football. Those of us that are legally obligated to cheer for, let's say, the Vikings,
Right.
have had a tougher time. So, come playoffs, we do have to kind of decide on someone.
Who are we okay cheering for?
Who are we going to root for? So I didn't really think I mattered. Anyways, I also want a Patriots hat, which the little girl that was still at the party decided was hers. And I was like, you know what?
Sure.
You keep it, little girl. That's your hat. So, sorry, we were talking about squares. So you do the 0 to 9, 0 to 9. Were those numbers on the board when your dad randomly picked the squares?
Well, he didn't
pick it.
He
just said throw
told
whatever.
the person like
No,
running
but the person that wrote his name down was 0 to 9 on the borders?
I don't know.
Because to me, that's true squares.
Okay.
Is you have a completely blank 9x9 grid.
Oh, I see.
And you write your name on random squares, and then you randomize the numbers on the borders.
Oh, gotcha.
Because there are numbers that kind of make more sense, and people like Mark would do the research on those and like really strategize about their square.
I mean, 0-3 is that's a good one to have.
So I'd feel guiltier if I was your dad if the numbers were up there already.
Right.
But if it was completely randomized, no, that was his all on his own. So let's talk halftime show, boys.
Let's.
How did we feel?
Not good.
There were people of color after the halftime show who made me think, am I racist because I did not like this?
I don't think that's the
Black
case.
Twitter seemed to be like, this was incredible, and if you don't like this, you don't have a taste in music, or like a dog in the like.
Like for me, I've never been an Usher fan.
He's got some good songs.
Sure. Like yeah.
Yeah, You Remind Me is a good song that he didn't play.
Sure. I mean, again, it's one
DJ
of those things.
Got Us Fallen in Love. He didn't play. That's a great
was gonna
song.
be played for sure.
I thought that I put money on that being the last song.
No, it was gonna be the last song.
I thought he was gonna open. I had him like coming out to lasers, like he'd start the show with yeah.
Did you have him on roller skates?
With OMG, because that's like a nice slow.
And he didn't even play that, did he? He didn't play OMG either.
There's some songs where he just like did one line from, and then just jumped into another song.
Like, go back a couple years to LA, right? That's like, to me, that's what I want. I don't know. Usher just seems so like
2 years ago was such a high watermark.
Yeah.
For like a badass, and I know it was 90s music, but like modern seeming show.
Right.
Kendrick wasn't 90s.
Sorry?
Kendrick Lamar. He wasn't.
I was going to say Kendrick was like, I think we made the joke when they announced those performers of like, okay, thank God Kendrick Lamar's there to be like, look, we have someone that you listen to.
Hello, fellow children.
Hello, fellow youths. Here's a recent hip hop star. And last year, Rihanna was awesome too. Like, she just fucking stood on one platform the whole time, and she was really good.
And by the way, I'm pregnant.
That was a mess show too.
Yeah, well, it was okay. It was okay.
I liked last year a lot, and I thought last year was much better than this year. Maybe that's what I have to tell myself to not feel racist. I don't know. It seemed, and maybe because he has a Vegas residency, it seemed kind of going through the motions.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't like, fuck yes, I'm at the goddamn Super Bowl. It was just like, here's my show. The roller skating was weird.
Very weird.
It's very strange. Didn't need it.
Nope.
But then when Little John came out in the crowd, that really saved it.
Yeah. It ended
That's
strong.
I think from a mess show for a strong ending. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it ended very strong.
But it was a strong ending because of Little John and Ludacris.
Right.
Mhm.
Like Luda doing that whole verse was just I want a Luda halftime show. He looked great. He sounded great. Keep him out there. He's got a great catalog, pimping all over the world. This song about like money in your butts or something. That one's really good. Luda's got a great catalog. Next year.
Foo Fighters. Just make it Foo Fighters. So easy.
I don't know if it's going to be a rock act while Jay-Z is still in charge.
Right.
Because you gotta have dancing.
You can have
You gotta have
dancing with
dancing.
rock bands.
Can you though?
Sure you
So
can. Just have dancers.
the last sort of like rock band was Coldplay, and I use the term rock very loosely, right? But even as we always joke,
They had Beyonce and Bruno Mars save that show.
I was gonna. They had the good sense, and it's like God bless Chris Martin and Adam Levine should have watched that back and been like, oh, this is what you do when you're a limp dick band.
Yep.
Coldplay went, okay, guys, we have like one or two songs that are like kind of crowd hypey, and then we need to not do anything else.
That's right.
Like they had the good sense to be like, we're not great for this environment, but we have friends who are.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought those friends on, and it was really good. That dance battle in the middle of the field is something that I will remember for a very, very long time. And then also Chris Martin doing whatever he thought dancing was in the background of that. Chris, what grade would you give this Super Bowl? In terms of
the halftime show or the whole
level?
We're talking the whole thing.
Whole thing, your overall level of enjoyment.
Okay, so the halftime show, not so great. The first half of the game, pretty bad. I would say like a C. Wrong team won. Yeah, I'm gonna give it like a C.
Mark?
Yes.
Fair. I think I'm with Chris in a C.
Yeah. Like
I was happy. I was happy for Taylor Swift.
Romo sucked.
Romo was awful.
Romo was bad as like, yeah.
There was a moment, and I don't know if it was in overtime or not, where we genuinely thought he got yanked off the broadcast because there was a time where he wasn't talking for a while, and he had been like, and then it was like it felt like 5 minutes of no Tony Romo, and I was like, oh, someone told him to like simmer the fuck down.
To shut up.
And just shut up. And then his whole thing at the end of the game, explaining the Chiefs strategy.
Yeah.
And was like, the 49ers have to treat it like it's two halves of a game. And he's like, the reason why they're not calling a timeout now is you have to assume you're going into another half. You have to treat it like a game. And then as he's saying the sentence, they scored.
Yeah.
And I was I know Super Bowl overtime rules, and he genuinely confused me. Right. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? If
the Chiefs score a touchdown right now, did they treat it as a whole half?
Right.
I didn't understand what he was saying.
It's not smart. It wasn't smart.
Is that it? Is he just dumb? Because I kind of like him.
He's a likable goofball.
Yes. Oh, the other thing though, but he kept saying about, especially like near the beginning of the game, about like, oh, the nerves of the stage, and you got to get through it. It's like, how the fuck do you know, Tony Romo? You never played in a Super Bowl.
You wouldn't know Tony Romo, would you?
So
I also wanted to get him a glass of water. He was losing his voice like the whole fucking time.
Yeah. The good news is next year it'll be Tom, right? So
I think it's Fox next year.
What are you rolling your eyes?
Yeah, as long as it's Fox next year, we'll have Tom, and he can tell us what the nerves of being in a Super Bowl are actually like. because he's
And
played in
tell us about
10
being
of
Patrick
them.
Mahomes.
He played in 10 Super Bowls.
Wow. So MVP was Patrick Mahomes.
Sure.
We were debating the entire when I thought
literally no one else you can give it to on the Chiefs.
No.
Yeah, and when San Francisco was winning, Dave and I were like, "Well, who would you give it to in San Francisco? Like, it would be
Jennings.
default
Jennings.
Purdy. Do you give it to
Juwan Jennings was going to win that MVP.
Yeah.
You think so?
He threw
Absolutely.
the touchdown.
He threw a touchdown and caught one. If McCaffrey doesn't get a second touchdown, that's Juwan Jennings' award.
No.
And then the Chiefs, it was a classic Mahomes by default. I thought.
Yeah, because Kelsey didn't have any touchdown catches.
No.
I don't think Mahomes really earned it. I don't.
He hasn't earned any of his MVPs.
He didn't earn it, but nobody else earned it. So if no one else earns it defaults to the quarterback.
Ty goes to the runner.
Yeah.
I give it to the refs for not calling offensive.
I mean, that's who should have got it for sure.
Yeah.
Swish. Any final thoughts on the Super Bowl, guys, before we burn through my last questions?
No football till September.
Yeah. My other final thought is, I said after the game with Paul, the career path that Shanahan's on right now is eerily similar, and this is what they're probably going to call him. And Schefter did say it today. Kyle Shanahan's the new Andy Reid before he got to Kansas City.
Yeah. Couldn't win the big game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Niners potentially could have had 4 Super Bowls in the last 5 years.
Right.
Lost to Kansas City.
But Andy Reid had to change teams.
Andy Reid got fired. He didn't even change teams. He got fired because the Eagles felt he couldn't get them over the hump.
Do you see Shanahan going somewhere else?
No, Shanahan will. If they need to stick with Shanahan,
Denver. He's gonna get fired, and he's gonna go to Denver.
He's not getting fired. Him and John Lynch are like this, son.
Yeah, and they're both gonna go to Denver.
He's not getting fired.
They're both going to Denver. No. Yes.
This is not the time you fire your head coach like this.
No, I'm not saying tomorrow. I'm saying they're gonna get sick of it, and then him and Johnny Boy are gonna end up in Denver.
They're not gonna win it next year,
where it makes sense for John Lynch to be the GM and a Shanahan to win a couple Super Bowls. I'm just saying.
It would be nice. It's over. They're gonna win it next year.
Couple of very quick things to cover. We have our NFL awards. We'll do the funny one first, which was Joe Flacco winning Comeback Player of the Year over someone who literally died on the field. But as Mark
decision, yeah,
by the letter of the law, and the letter of the law of that award, Joe Flacco was the comebackiest player.
Yeah,
but morally.
Well,
he just came off his couch. He was good at football.
Had he played like 10 games and started all 10 games, then he has a real good shot. Because he still had the most first place votes. He had 21 first place votes to Flacco's 16.
Right.
But overall score, Flacco won.
I just find it humorous that Joe Flacco was okay at football, and then he was bad at football, and then he wasn't playing football, and then he got good at football again.
Yeah.
And then DeMar Hamlin, we all watched die on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then come back and play football. I'm like, that's a comeback. And then Mark's fun thing that Lamar Jackson won MVP. So that's fun.
No quarterback has ever won the MVP award without finishing in the top 8 in touchdown passes.
So why Lamar Jackson?
Because the hype around the San Fran Baltimore game was a battle of the 2 front leading MVPs, and the winner of that game was going to be winning the MVP. That was it. It was a whole media hype. So for one game, Lamar was better than Brock Purdy.
Right.
And
that one game.
There you go.
But even give it to Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, McCaffrey.
Like there's other people in the 49ers that should have won that award.
McCaffrey set the record for the consecutive games with a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Had 2,000 all-purpose yards, which doesn't happen every day for a running back. Led the league in rushing. And 21 touchdowns. I mean, that's not a normal running back season either.
Dave got upset with me. There was some super boost or some like pre-built thing that was Debo, McCaffrey. I forget the two. Name two other wide receivers on the Kittle
Jennings.
and Ayuk, and it was like who's going to have the most receiving yards, I think. And I paused and I was like, which one of those guys is the running back? And Dave was like, how do you not know that, man? Not knowing that. But I was like, that's how good Christian McCaffrey is. Because he catches so many footballs. I forget he's actually a running back.
He led the team in catches and reception or yards in the Super Bowl.
He in this whole Shanahan Lynch to Denver thing, McCaffrey also will end up in Denver because it makes sense.
Is this the first ever trade package that is a coach?
I'm just saying
player?
it makes sense for these guys to be in Denver.
Look, there's a lot of connections to San Fran's history as well with those guys.
I don't care about that.
Started as an assistant coach of the Niners.
That doesn't matter. Did he win any Super Bowls there?
He did.
Oh, okay.
With Steve Young
as head coach, though.
No.
Also, guys, remind me when does this start?
When is
September?
what?
September, the Super Bowl, the NFL season starts in September, right?
Week after Labor Day. Ends
in mid-Feb, right? What state would you rather be in winter?
What state would we rather be in when it's not football season?
I would very much rather be in California.
Nah, Colorado's great. All that
I
snow,
don't like being cold.
Skiing.
Or
you can ski in California too if you go north enough.
Sure.
Or beaches and warm climate.
Nah.
California has it all.
California has it all.
Traffic. Yeah. Nah, it's a shitty traffic in California.
Legal weed, which I believe.
And hang on. I don't know if you've seen any videos of San Francisco, but it's a fucking hellhole. So
yeah.
So you're not gonna win me with that.
But Colorado has Mormons.
California.
Right, but San Francisco is a hellhole. So
you know who's from Colorado?
Who's that?
Lauren Boebert.
Oh,
that's right.
BYU's in Colorado, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's in Utah. Is it Utah? Same thing. Same fucking state. Rocks and mountains and Mormons. Okay, last non-football thing I did want to talk about is the Morgan Riley hit. So feller on the Senators, whose name I can't remember because I think making it weirder. He's kind of not like he's just a dude. Slap shots into an empty net when they're already winning, and Morgan Riley
ices the game with oomph, if you will.
He goes, "Oh no," and cross checks him to the head.
Yep.
Suspended for, was it 5 games, I believe, announced today?
5 games, yep.
Apparently the high watermark was Perron, who did the same thing, but not at the player that scored the goal. So the expectation was it was going to be one less than whatever he got, because at least Morgan Riley went after the guy.
Right.
How do you guys feel about this in general?
Well, you know me.
This podcast is famous for despising fighting in hockey.
And also the whole unwritten rule bullshit. Like, it's one of those things like, so what? He fucking slapped. Who cares? The game was over. You're just being a baby. Like seriously, you're being a baby. Yeah, and you want to go over to him and knock him down after he scored the goal, then go over to him and knock him down and drop the gloves. Okay? And because you ain't getting 5 games for dropping the gloves after that. You get a 5-minute major, and that's it. So the cross-check to the face is fucking stupid.
Agreed.
But to me, just shut up. Just shut up. He scored the goal, the game's over. Shut up.
It needed to be addressed because the guy did it out of disrespect and knowingly thought that the Leafs weren't going to do anything about it because, it's the Leafs, they're pushovers.
Right.
It's like a bully, like rubbing a kid's face and saying, like, hey, you're not going to fight back. I'm just going to do this to you now. And then kid fought back.
Yeah, and it was interesting.
And listen, I would agree with your analogy if he was pushing someone around and saying
Yeah.
that the Leafs weren't going to do something back. But the fact of the matter is he shot the puck into the net, and the game's over.
Yeah, he did it to mock and
great.
Yeah,
it's
so you answer for that in anything.
So, because Tyler and I each had examples when we were chirping about this in our chat, and Tyler's was like he was playing up. It was 5-0. Guy like scored a hardcore breakaway, and Tyler, I believe, decked him.
Yeah.
Mine was in softball, which is less violent, but it was still like a team was beating us like by a lot. There was no way we were back, and in softball, there's not often fences. And if it's a home run, it's a home run because you legged it out. And a guy legs out a home run, 12-0.
Yeah.
And so I just never let him. I was never quiet for the rest of that game. Like, is this helping your baseball cards? I didn't know the scouts were here today. Like, is this really a big boost for your personal statistics? I'm sure much more clever things at the time. But like,
you mentioned how small his wiener was, I'm sure.
Oh, probably me. I'm sure I mentioned that his dick was small. But like, I'm with Mark. You have to do something in that instance.
Like, imagine
like
in Tillis scenario at the major league level. Imagine a team's up 20-1. They put a possession player to pitch.
I get it.
And then the guy
the ball
cranks off home run.
And pimps it, bat flips. I get it.
Or stealing a base. Stealing a base is so frowned on.
I get the disrespect. It's the unwritten rule bullshit that is like I don't care about that shit. And I understand that it's disrespectful, but
to me, what are you talking? What is the unwritten rule to you? You don't slap shot.
This is the unwritten rule is you don't slap shot on an open net. Now it would have been hilarious. How about he winds up and misses?
I would argue it's not an unwritten rule. I would argue it's just a shitty thing to do. And this guy did a shitty thing.
Though? So you're playing against a rival team, right? Mm-hmm. We can't argue the Leafs and the Senators have a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a close game. And the net's empty and you're like, fuck, I got I'm burying this game. This is great. And you just wind up and slap it in because you're so excited. We beat our rival team. I don't know. I don't think it's this egregious act that deserves this kind of. And again, you want to be pissed off at him? That's fine. Go get him in the corner, drop your gloves, and give him a couple shots in the face. Because that's what.
Yes.
Again, my issue was the way he did it. I don't agree with what he did, but he needs to get addressed,
right,
in some fashion. Not crashing to the face, obviously.
But I also love the Ottawa Senators like social media team leaning into it. Beautiful. They play of the game. They put
performer of the game. Yeah,
performer of the game. Like just I absolutely love them leaning into it. And I understand it, but for me, I don't know. I guess I'm not a professional athlete, but for me, it's like the game's over. The game's over.
And to me, like, exactly. The game is over.
You don't need to showboat and do that
You don't need to showboat.
Sure.
You shouldn't have slapped it. It's such a fuck you. You're already winning.
See, I think that if it wasn't a close game, okay, so for me, if it's 2-0 and it's an empty netter that he slap shots in, that's a shitty move. But the fact that it's one goal and you know, like, could have still gone either way.
4 seconds left in the game when he did that.
And he slapped it from pretty close. Like, he was gonna stop.
Yeah, I know. He was in the middle of the circles. Don't let him score the goal.
But it was 4 seconds left and it was a broken play.
Don't let him score the goal.
Keep the puck in their end.
Well, then it's all moot, man. It doesn't matter.
No, it's not.
I'm sure I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. I played in a dodgeball tournament years and years and years ago, and it was a pretty like it wasn't one of the top tournaments, but there were a couple of top teams playing in it, and I believe I was on one of them. but there was like one of the top, and it was like, first of all, what the fuck are you doing putting together this super team for
Right.
what is essentially like a nothing, almost charity tournament? And there were lots of like rookie teams together, and there were no mercy rules, I believe, and this team was up like 14-0, and we're still giving her.
Right.
This other team had no chance of coming back, and after the game was over, I was chatting to a couple people on this super team who I was friendly with, I knew, and I was like, "Is this still fun for you guys? Like, why would you do that?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, we still have a blast doing this." I was like, "Then you're shitty people."
Right.
Like, to me, that's so indicative of your character when you do, and then you're a shitty human being. If you're gonna win,
Mhm.
and you need to be a piece of shit at winning too.
Yeah. Some people like to
David.
win.
Shush, please.
Some people like to win. I don't know.
Some people like to win. Well, I am losing connection, and Dave is talking too much.
Okay.
You guys are very slow. Very quickly, what the hell are the Raptors doing, Mark Bunn?
Essentially rebuilding.
But are
Pretty
they?
Yeah. They traded away contracts. They're keeping as many picks as they can and keeping a young core. Anyone with expiring contracts is out the door.
I worried about that Kelly Olynyk move, although it was a late first, so wah, but I'm still like,
They need shooters too. And he'll be cheap.
I was just hoping you could explain the current mindset better than I can understand.
They're essentially just going to try and build up a new core with young talent that can shoot.
And are they hoping that they freed up cap space and can sign people that want to play with Scotty Barnes?
That's the hope, but I doubt it. It's going to be done through the draft as always.
And then my last super quick question, because Gabe asked to ask this, I believe. How was your time at the soccer game?
Oh, it was fantastic. A great crowd. We got completely overwhelmed by the other side. I had no idea they did a whole march because I got there right after it, so I just missed that.
Who had a whole march? The Mexican team?
Mexicans, yeah.
Really?
They put up these giant flags really quickly. It was like impressive all over the stadium.
So now I saw that they had put the flags up over top of banners in the home stadium.
Yeah.
That shit should not be allowed to happen. That shit
but
should not be
they had no control over that crowd.
From what I've heard, yes, they had no control over that.
You see soccer fans coming, and you're like, do whatever you want. Was it mostly? Do you think it was people that traveled from Mexico, or just people that were kind of in the area?
No, they had to. There's no way you have that many Mexicans cheering for the one squad when you have a bunch of teams in Mexico.
Wow, I don't know what team I love so much that I would do that, aside from like a national team.
Right.
You did it for the Bruins.
I happened to be there.
No, but you planned your vacation like, hey, you know.
No, it was
let's play Carolina again, and then hope that they make it to play against Carolina in the conference finals.
It still
that
happens.
Vacation has been booked already, and we do have another one booked as well. Last week of May, kind of first week of June. We haven't picked the exact dates. I think it would, if they meet in the Eastern Finals, again, is the only way it would work.
Yeah. And you guys do it for the Vikings.
That's true. Mark? Do we do it for the Vikings?
Well, by marriage, you.
Do I just go?
You entered an agreement.
How do I get out of this?
You're stuck.
How do I secretly pick a new team? Like that's what I've been working on.
I think you just can. He should be okay with it.
But I think if I came, if I
write the clause, like if you don't get within to even a Super Bowl in the next 5 years, that clause, you're allowed to choose another team.
I made the mistake of bringing that up with Dave around the Super, and I was like, you can You can change teams. Like, you can pick
I
something.
don't know.
It's like,
I don't know if you
I'm
knew
not
this or
doing it.
not, but you can totally do it.
You could kind of cheer for someone else if you'd like. Who's like, no, I'm not doing that. It's like, oh, fuck. Fine. Okay. And that's, I think, why I love Taylor Swift. She's awesome. I'm not a huge fan of her music, but I just kind of like her. The only thing that pissed me off about this whole thing is like, girl, you just started dating a football player. And I believe just started being a fan of a team.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
No,
that
it's not fair. She jumped on the bandwagon, though.
She switched because she was an Eagles fan. Remember?
She was an Eagles fan. And I guess I did do that with the Bruins way back when. I started cheering for them for spite. And I was like, oh, these guys are actually really good. So I don't know. I don't know how I could. What do I do? Like, do I just? But the other, like, you guys know, I didn't grow up with a team, obviously. But like, I was a sympathizer of a bunch of teams.
The Jets.
It's the Jets and the fucking Giants. Like, that's
Right.
just as bad.
But the Giants have Super Bowl wins in the last, 20 years.
Yeah,
but they won't.
They're not.
They
They're
won't
not
for
going
the
to be
next
good for
10.
a while.
Yeah.
Them and the Jets, they're not going to be good for a
Nope.
while. I don't.
Listen, I'm not confident in anybody winning a Super Bowl that isn't named Patrick Mahomes over the next 10 years.
I'm confident the Niners winning next year because the Chiefs have to decide whether or not they're going to give Chris Jones his money.
Well, I heard Mahomes is restructuring.
Is it going to be enough to keep Chris Jones?
Well, hopefully for the Kansas City's.
Yeah.
Any other sports news we want to talk about?
He'd look good in Denver too. So.
No, there.
We're good.
Nope. Just help me pick a new team. Well, maybe next week, but probably not. I will be posting photos. Follow us on Instagram, posting adventures from California. We fly into LAX, drive to Palm Desert, and then fly home from Palm Desert. I'm going to the Trixie Motel that I'm really excited about. One of my BFs produced the first season of that show and was like, I really, really want you to go check it out. So we have reservations to go see that. We're going to do hikes and gondola rides and get diarrhea from tacos.
Perfect.
But follow our shenanigans mostly on TikTok and Instagram. And thanks for listening, everybody.